The Tesla Cybertruck. It is either your favorite vehicle ever made in the entire world, or it is the vehicle that you hate more than anything else on the planet. You either love it or you hate it. You're not allowed to have an in-between. There is no in-between. There can't be an in-between. Because of the way that this thing works and just the way it looks and everything. It's either a design that you absolutely vibe with or a design that you just think looks like a refrigerator and you make fun of it. My dad thinks it looks like a refrigerator. I think it looks like a refrigerator, but I don't mind the way that it looks, but that's besides the point. The last video on this channel reviewed an equally goofy tech product that nobody really needs, but just makes everyday things a lot more interesting, and today... Oh no! You can see my crappy set! Oh god, this is a dumpster fire already! I mean, it's fitting, because a lot of people say that this looks like a dumpster. Yeah, this is the part of the video where I need to make a disclaimer. I am not an RC car guru. I don't really have RC cars. I have one nice one, and that's it. Other than that, I don't know anything about RC cars at all. I know that they are really, really big hobby things that a lot of people use as like a mainstream hobby, and that it's a toy car that's usually made of plastic or in some cases aluminum. This one is a plastic one. There are two versions of this, I'll get into that in a minute. And you are meant to play with them without touching them. Instead, you hold this thing and it does everything for you. Yeah, that's all you need to know about remote control cars to understand what this thing is. This is the RC Cybertruck. I bought this because it was funny. And it ended up being absolutely massive. Look, this is my across four-wheel drive nugget. This is the nicest RC car I have. And it's not even a very nice one. This is a consumer grade, high-end one. And that means that this is like the absolute bottom of the bottom of the bottom tier when it comes to the high end of RC cars. But it runs on a 2S Lion that is equipped with the most annoying battery connector you will ever see in the history of the universe. It's got analog suspension on each individual front wheel and both of the back wheels together, which is weird because it's all on just one thing. It's got two differentials, so one for the front and one for the rear, and yes, it has four-wheel drive. This thing right here is meant to go about 40 to 50 miles an hour on a full battery with the included remote. And it also has a light bar up at the top and two more lights at the front. So why am I bringing this up? Well, this right here costs just about as much as this one. And ironically enough, they're almost the same size. Like, I can't stress how big this thing is. It is freaking gargantuan in size. So I'm going to be using this as a referee, because I don't know what else to use as a referee, because I'm not an RC car guy. So just ignore this. We'll get back to it later. We gotta talk about this nugget, and I'm going to be talking about it from the perspective of some idiot who has no idea what he's talking about. So what are the things that we know right out of the box? Well, first of all, this retailed for $100, and I paid about $130 for it because it's kind of a collector's item nowadays, and they're harder to find than they used to be. You get the nugget, you get a quad that looks just like it, and you get this expensive remote that, ironically enough, looks almost exactly like the actual steering wheel, but scaled down a lot. And also, the actual steering wheel doesn't have silver here. It's just all black, so I don't know what the deal is with that. But one thing that I found surprising is that this is an actual thing that you can buy. There's a Cybertruck styled ATV that's just like an electric toy for children. And they actually put some effort into this. The wheels are all rubber, it's got pretty good spin on it, like it's lubricated nicely, it's built pretty well, the paint is pretty nice on it. Like, this thing right here is made out of stuff, and that surprised me because it's like an afterthought that you wouldn't even think about. The remote, on the other hand, is not made as well. It's filthy. Like, what is this? This came out of the box. There are lots of little bits of paint there, like chipping off, lots of weird little scuffs all over it. It's not like it's dented or anything, but it's scuffed all over. And the truck is even worse. When I took this out of the box, it had so many scuffs on it, I didn't know what to think. But the point of the ATV is to put in here. If you couldn't tell, the ATV fits perfectly in there, even though it doesn't, because it's not big enough to properly fill it and get a good seal on it. So when it bounces around. It likes to bounce around a lot. And I mean, the truck is pretty bouncy because it's got really good suspension. Like, I would argue the suspension here is actually better than on the nice one. You have individual shocks for the individual rear wheels, and the individual front wheels. And they are mounted in a way to where the wheels are not going to like tip upwards if the thing shocks like the other one does. They go straight up and down, and they manage to hold their rigidity really well, making this thing incredibly bouncy and very, very rigid. Like it holds its shape, it bounces back up, but it's able to conform to pretty much any surface you put it on. Did that make any sense? No, it did not, but we're gonna keep talking anyway. The remote here just has a forwards and backwards throttle and a left to right throttle. This is not analog, and that confused the absolute crap out of me, because essentially there are two tiny micro switches on either side. So when you pull it all the way to the left or right, do you hear that? That is the sound of a button being pressed. So this entire center area is a dead zone. Do you want to know what that means? Unless you turn it hard left or hard right, all the way to the left and all the way to the right, they don't turn. They don't turn at all. I thought something was wrong with this thing because I was turning it and the wheels weren't turning. And today I figured out, oh, you actually have to press the buttons all the way at the far left or right in order to get it to turn. Why do you have to do that? They managed to put an analog switch into the front and back. Why couldn't they put analog motors into the left and right? I don't know. But yeah, do you remember when I said that the truck looked even worse? Okay, I'm hiding the chunk from you. If I go over here, look at this. What is this? What is all this stuff? It's dirty. Look at the window. It's filthy. There's like little scuffs all over the top of it. In the bed of the truck, like back here. Ew! What is that? It feels dirty. It feels like this thing's covered in dirt. I don't understand what's going on with it and why it was put together like this. The very front has this giant dent in it. Look at this. What is the meaning of this? I mean, I don't personally care because this is just a goofy nugget. It looks like the Cybertruck. That's all I really care about. And this thing is either going to be sitting on a shelf where no one's going to be looking at it up close, or I'm going to be driving it around like a freaking hooligan. That's it. But for collectors that actually might want to display this thing and look at it happily, it's covered in stuff that you don't want it to be covered in. And I think that is a big problem. If I actually lift this up and you look in there, you can see a big thing of masking tape holding the wires in and a bigger thing of glue holding them in, showing that, yeah, this is just a very generic RC car chassis with this big shell put on top of it. So it is the most basic version of an RC car that you can possibly have. And I mean, I wouldn't expect anything more. It's a Tesla Cybertruck. If I really wanted it to look good, I would have gotten the nice one. Oh yeah, that reminds me, there's two versions of this. This is the cheap one. This thing went for $100 retail. But there's also an expensive one. The biggest differences with the expensive one is that it uses a 3S LiPo rather than a 2S Lion that you put into the bottom of the actual vehicle. As for the back, there is no ATV, but it is replaced with a kind of vinyl sliding thing that mimics the actual top shield that you can put over the top of the truck, which I think is worth it. The back light bar is actually a full LED light bar rather than just two LEDs spanned across the light bar. This folds open, the ramp comes down, etc., etc., and it costs $400. $300 more than this one. That's why I went with this one. Oh yeah, it also comes with a big carrying case. But I mean, I'm pretty sure the thing's also made of like aluminum. If it's made of aluminum, then that kind of also justifies the price a little bit. But still, even then, that's very expensive. That's a lot of money. Already $100 for something like this is quite a bit. $400 is a lot more. And nowadays, one on eBay will run you back about $500 to $600. So it's even more. It's even more! For those of you more interested in this thing for the Tesla Cybertruck design in it, I need to give you guys a big disclaimer. This is based off of the prototype, not the finished truck. So if you happen to have one of these nuggets, like the actual one, these are not here. There are no door handles here. There's not supposed to be door handles on the Cybertruck. The point is that this right here, there's a little button, you go click, and the thing just goes boop, and then you pull the thing, you literally just grab it and pull it open. There's no door handles on the actual Cybertruck, which means the inclusion of door handles here makes it look not quite like the Cybertruck. So I'm just giving you guys this disclaimer. So let's turn it on and see what it actually looks like. First, you turn on the remote, you hold this for a second until it's blinking, and then you flip the dingus over, and you flip this switch right here, and it connects. And then you have the light bar, which is not a light bar at all. It is 2 LEDs on either side, and the middle of it is dark. Now, it is a lot more visible to the camera than it is in real life. When you look at it in real life, it is pretty easy to convince yourself that it is just a light bar, because it looks like the light bar. It's very hard to notice the actual LED die-off other than directly in the middle, and if you look really closely at it for a really long time, you'll notice that there's no lights in there. But if you just look at it from a distance, it really does look like there's a light bar. And the same goes with the back. The difference is almost as pronounced on the back, but not quite as dramatic as the front. And again, you can't even tell when you're looking at this in person. It looks like a big red light bar on the back and a big white light bar on the front, and the plastic is so cheap that you can see the light going right through it. Damn it! And needless to say, if I put it forward even a little bit, it just goes. Oh, God. Yeah, so the miles per hour question mark that this thing is supposed to go at is about 10 to 15. It seems like it's going a lot faster than that, but at the same time, this is like an indoor RC car. It's not meant to be like run around outdoors. And I will now demonstrate the problem with the left and right controls. So watch the front wheels here. I'm turning it to the left. I'm now gonna turn it to the right. Yup, that's the problem, and it doesn't seem to be centered anymore, which is oddly concerning. I don't know. Let's see what this thing looks like to actually play with.
Alrighty, we got this. We're gonna go to the park. We're gonna go to the park. First, agility testing. Oh, that's not gonna come off, is it? You know it's bad when the actual truck has a better turning radius. Can I make a U-turn? Oof. Come on. Chloe! Try not to drive it into the pool. See if I can get it back on. Hey! Percy? Shut up, plane! See how fast it can actually go. Whoops. There we go. Hershey, come here! Come here, Hershey! There we go. Pretty good.
One thing interesting is the way that you charge it. So you flip the truck over like this, and then here's the battery compartment. You unscrew this, and a USB cable comes out of it. You just plug the thing into the wall. I would much rather be able to take the battery fully out and put the battery fully in, but it gets the job done. So I don't know what to tell you guys. All that means is that it's gonna be a lot harder to maintenance this battery if it breaks or burns out or anything like that, because you'd have to take the whole truck apart and then probably desolder it from the mechanism in order to do that. So Yeah, that's unfortunate, but overall, what do I think of this Nugget? It is a fun novelty that is functional. You can put the ATV in, you can even put the ATV and the remote in the back, so that's what I do. I just have everything in the bed of the truck to keep it all together. It's got heft to it, but it isn't like super heavy, but it isn't light. Like, it doesn't feel like trash. It actually feels pretty dense and pretty well built, considering that this is like a brand tie-in, basically Mattel's version of Nerf Limited, where you have to order it online and it's a special pre-order thing and then they go up in value later. It's done pretty well. I would still say that this is better done than any Nerf Limited thing when it comes to being a brand tie-in. I'm being serious. This is actually done pretty good. I like it. I like it a lot. If you like this thing, it's actually pretty good. And for about $100, I don't think it's bad value. I think that you could actually get a lot of fun out of this thing if you want it. If you like the Cybertruck, but you don't feel like dumping $90,000 into actually getting one, but you still want to have like a fun little Cybertruck themed thing to play with, this may be your best option. Because other than this, there's the official Tesla diecast one, which is $230 and is like a metal model that you're supposed to just leave and look at. And then there's the expensive one of these. Yeah, that speaks for itself. So yeah, if you find one of these things and you like it and you're considering getting one, I give it a thumbs up. I give it a rate. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.